Coming up next on KYOU, news for you at 10. Main Street Ottumwa opens in downtown with a ribbon cutting and a crowd of shoppers.
After a windy day today, windy weather is going to return yet again heading into the weekend, just in time for Halloween. I'll look at your forecast for the weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
And Vice President Pence visits Des Moines. What message did he bring for supporters? These stories and more as KYOU News for You at 10 starts right now.
Live from Ottumwa, the news that's important to you. This is KYOU News for You at 10.
Good evening. I'm Eric Monaghan. This evening, Ottumwa is celebrating the grand opening of Main Street with a ribbon-cutting ceremony. KYOU had Jatira Marsh on the scene as she spoke with business owners and patrons to discuss their excitement at the project's completion. It's our top story tonight.
Construction on Main Street began early April of this year and has now come to an end. The owner of Stitch Doctor, Jackie King, shared how that time has been for her and her business.
It's been a challenge. I won't deny that. It has been a challenge. We've made it through. There's been construction pretty much left, right, front, and back since I've been down here, but the challenge is there. We've made it through. Street opened up today, so it's going to be a good thing.
She says it's hard providing business for other businesses with all the construction getting in the way of that.
We carry big boxes out of here, so then, when we have to carry boxes halfway down a block and around the corner, to get them to their cars, it's been a challenge.
But now those challenges are no more, and customers are excited to get full access to the downtown area.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I own My Chic Boutique at Ottumwa Tuxedo Rental, and it's been crazy. It's been hard. I will admit, but we are looking forward to the possibilities and the things that are going to happen.
Once Mayor Lazio presented the Small Business Award for Ottumwa, happy citizens gathered to cut the ribbon and celebrate the new beginning together. Jatira Marsh, KYOU, News for You.
And with the revamped Main Street, city leaders are exploring what could come next for the downtown area. KYOU's James Berrickman takes a look with continued coverage.
After a year and a half of work, the city of Ottumwa has a brand new Main Street. And with it, Main Street Ottumwa Executive Director Fred Zessiger hopes it will drive people back to the downtown area.
It's nice to have it wrapped up. There's a few things that still need to be done, but we got it open.
Zessiger says the focus now moves to developing the interior and exteriors of downtown businesses, as well as continuing to introduce upper-level housing units along Main Street.
So a lot of business development, and I include that in business development, are those upper-story housing units. And we don't have any vacant right now, so it's a good thing to do.
With the downtown area growing with new businesses and revitalized living spaces, City Administrator Philip Rath says property values will also grow.
The assessed value of storage space is so much lower than an apartment. And so now you make a livable space, you're able to charge a little bit more in rent, that adds in, and so now there's more value added, and then that definitely helps with the overall assessed value and the ability to get revenue for the city.
And now that the streetscape project is finished, Jerry Bonzer, an Ottumwa resident since 1967, reflects on the evolution of the area.
Saw, of course, of downtown when it was older, but it sure has changed, and this is really fantastic. Pretty nice place for customers to go to.
One step finished in bringing a city a new heyday. I'm James Berrickman, KYOU News for You.
Well, it's good to see that the project is now complete. I know that people are definitely happy about that. But what they might not have been happy about being at that opening was the chilly temperatures and the wind. So let's get a look at your weather with meteorologist Kaylee Puchel with your first alert forecast.
Mostly clear to partly cloudy skies overnight will allow temperatures to fall into the upper 20s and low 30s across the area into Friday morning. So you're going to need that heavier coat out the door. We'll be up to 33 at 9 and 44 degrees at noon, tracking plenty of sunshine heading into your Friday. But by Saturday, winds are going to start to increase upwards of 35 miles per hour from the south. Those winds will shift to a new direction and bring in some different temperatures as we head towards the end of the weekend. An update in just a few minutes.
And now let's take a look at the coronavirus numbers around Wapello County. Here is the latest that we have. We currently have 93 active cases with 10 hospitalizations. We are over 1,500 total cases, and positive cases sit at 11.5%. Luckily, there haven't been any new deaths. We are still at 62 total. And Good Samaritan Society in Ottumwa, which has been battling an outbreak these past months, currently has 22 active resident cases and 1 active employee case. Good Samaritan is currently testing everyone weekly. And Vice President Pence was in Des Moines earlier today at a MAGA rally to help elect President Trump. He touted the Trump administration's accomplishments with the economy, like tax cuts and increased military and veteran health spending. The Vice President also attacked Joe Biden about the Democratic candidate's plan to raise taxes, comparing that to President Trump's economy. And Iowa's top election official joining with law enforcement and emergency management leaders today, holding a news conference to address Iowa's election. This year has seen a boom in absentee and mail-in ballots, and Secretary of State Paul Pate assures voters that they will have numbers on election night.
We learned through my emergency directive in letting us start processing the absentee ballots early. We should have no problem with having those results calculated and done well before 10 o'clock on election night, even with the huge turnout, because they'll start that process on Saturday as far as getting the envelopes prepped and ready to tabulate, and then on Monday they'll start the tabulations. So I think most counties will probably have it done on Monday and then just finish up whatever's left come election day.
And we will have all of those results on election night, so be sure to check in with us on the same time on Tuesday as we cover the local, state, and national elections. And the Food Bank of Iowa had a big turnout for the drive-up food distribution event this morning. Hundreds of cars lining up outside Bridgeview Center for boxes of food at no cost to families in need. The food bank was able to serve almost 1,000 households and over 3,000 individuals in the area. Food bank staff say the first car showed up at 6 a.m. for the 9 o'clock event. This is one of the bigger turnouts for the drive-up events that they've seen. Food insecurity has increased significantly because of the pandemic, and it is expected to stay at higher levels through December of next year. Iowa Food Bank's Community Engagement Coordinator Sandra McReynolds says there's still a growing need for support in the community.
Definitely still seeing impacts of COVID, and a lot of times that just kind of ebbs and flows based on the other things that people are encountering. Now it's going into winter where heating is becoming an issue, and people need new coats for kiddos and stuff like that.
And the food bank in Iowa here in Ottumwa is always seeking donations. You can give them just $1, and they say that can be enough to feed 4 families in need. You can learn more about that at foodbankiowa.org.
If you love a good ghost story, well, you're in luck. We'll tell you all about it coming up on KYOU News for You at 9.
It's going to be chilly out the door with temperatures starting into the 30s at 8 and 9 o'clock. We'll be up to the low 40s by 1 and tracking a brief warm up heading towards Halloween. A look at that forecast coming up.
You're watching KYOU News for You at 10. And now, First Alert Weather.
Halloween is coming up on Saturday, and this year looks like we're going to have a pretty mild Halloween weekend. Now, the only thing you're really going to have to be dealing with is those windy conditions both days. Saturday, those wind gusts upwards of 35 miles per hour will be coming from the south. That's going to allow temperatures to rise into the low 60s, but a change heading towards Sunday as those winds shift to the north. Temperatures will only be near 45 degrees in the afternoon. You combine that with those strong north winds, it's going to be feeling even colder out there. So definitely the outdoor activities for Saturday, although you have to deal with that wind. By Sunday, you want to make sure any of those activities are indoors, just due to the fact that it's going to be feeling much colder outside. Here's a look at tonight's setup. As for the most part, our weather is going to be dominated by that high pressure system. This low pressure system out to our west is keeping those winds from the north heading into the overnight hours, but we'll change our winds heading into Friday. That's what's going to bring that southerly wind all the way through the beginning of the weekend, allowing temperatures to slightly warm up tomorrow compared to yesterday, but still going to be a cooler day. Overnight tonight, temperatures drop to 28 degrees, mostly clear to partly cloudy skies. Winds from the northwest will be light between 5 and 10 miles per hour, but heading into tomorrow morning, again, keep in mind those are the temperatures you'll be waking up to, and it could feel a few degrees colder even with some light northwest winds. Your planner hour by hour tomorrow, we start near that freezing point, 43 degrees at noon, upwards of 50 to 51 degrees as we head towards the afternoon, 45 at 6 and upper 30s as we head towards 9 o'clock. Lots of sunshine in store for tomorrow. And again, notice those winds. They shift from the northwest overnight to the southeast heading into tomorrow between around 5 and 15 miles per hour. Again, keep in mind, fairly nice temperatures around average for this time of year for tomorrow afternoon. Pinpoint Futurecast starting at 9 a.m. on Friday. You're not going to be noticing a whole lot here on Pinpoint Futurecast as we're anticipating mostly clear skies. Again, some wind will be out there, but overall it's going to be staying fairly light and not a huge impact throughout the area. To our north, maybe some partly cloudy skies, but for us, lots of sunshine heading into your Friday. Forecasted wind ranges over the next 5 days, again Saturday and Sunday, are going to be those 2 days to look out for. Tomorrow, winds between around 5 and 10 miles per hour, but could gust upwards of 30 to 40 miles per hour heading towards Saturday and Sunday. Again, that southwesterly wind for the beginning of the weekend on Halloween going to allow our temperatures to rise quite quickly, but by Sunday that shifts to the northwest will allow those temperatures to not rise too quickly heading into the afternoon. Then we're going to keep a southwesterly to southern wind heading towards Monday and Tuesday. That's going to keep some mild weather in our forecast heading towards Election Day. Your temperature outlook from November 6th to the 12th. We are in that lower percentage of saying some warmer than normal temperatures, but a lot of the state really in between there, not leaning warmer or cooler heading into that average there as we head towards the middle of November. As we look at our precipitation outlook, we sit directly in between. We're not trending wetter or drier across our area at least through November 12th. Something to keep a close eye on as we head over the next couple of weeks. Here's a look at the rest of that 7-day forecast. Highs will be into the low 50s tomorrow. Lots of sunshine. Again, windy throughout the entire weekend. Halloween on Saturday. Highs near 63 degrees. Don't forget to turn those clocks back heading into Saturday night and Sunday. As we fall back 1 hour, highs will be into the mid 40s. Then we're into the 50s and 60s heading into Election Day on Tuesday and staying above average. Back to you.
And as she said, Halloween is coming up Saturday. And so for the next 2 days, KYOU is going to explore some of the more haunted areas in southeast Iowa. Kicking it off, we have KYOU's Shelby Slaughter looking at the historic Mason House Inn in Van Buren County.
Halloween is upon us, and if you love a good ghost story, well, listen up. I'm here at the Mason House Inn in Keosauqua, Iowa, which is full of rich history. And in the Halloween spirit, I met up with the owners, Chuck and Joy Johnson, about their ghostly roommates. Built before Iowa even became a state back in July of 1846, this house has seen it all. From the Underground Railroad to being a hospital during the Civil War, the Mason House Inn has seen lots of life pass through its doors, and some seem to have never left. Owner Chuck Hansen says when they purchased the inn, they weren't quite filled in on just how many people still call this place home.
We didn't have any guests initially right away, so these clocks were going off randomly in all the rooms throughout the day, just randomly. So we would go around for about 2 or 3 days shutting off these alarms all day long, and we would finally say, that's enough, and it would quit. And about 3 months later, it would start over again. So this was going on and on and on, and so we realized, okay, we have a little more than a little old lady here. There's somebody's playing with us and teasing with us and seeing what our reaction is going to be.
Now, when the two made the decision to purchase the inn, they were aware of the ghost living up on the 3rd floor, whom they have come to know as Mary, but didn't know their new home came with young children believed to have died in 1913 when the inn was a tuberculosis hospital.
We were told about Mary, but we were told she was only on the 3rd floor, and if we leave her alone, she'll leave us alone. And then our guests started talking about how they're hearing children playing in the hall at night. Why didn't their parents put them to bed? And there was no children guests.
But it seems as though these ghostly adventures are coming to an end, and the owners have listed the Mason House Inn up for sale. But they won't sell it to just anyone, and say they only wish for the next owner to love and care for the inn and its inhabitants as much as they have. Shelby Slaughter, KYOU, News for You.
And we'll have another haunted location for you tomorrow night, so be sure that you don't miss that. And now the election is only days away, 5 days away to be specific, and one of the key points is how the candidates feel about the response to the coronavirus. Meanwhile, the nation has hit its highest 7-day average since the pandemic began. That 7-day average hit nearly 69,000 on Sunday. The previous record was at the end of July. And also the 2 highest single days of new cases were Friday and Saturday, with more than 83,000 new cases added each day. Health experts say the resurgence of cases they had warned would strike in the fall and winter is here. More than 225,000 Americans have died from the virus. Dr. Anthony Fauci says we may not get findings on the safety of potential vaccines until December, and widespread availability probably won't come until next year. And today, the two candidates held dueling rallies in Florida. But time is running out for the candidates to reach key swing state voters as millions cast ballots early. Nadia Romero has this snapshot of the race 5 days before the election.
Florida in focus.
I'm thrilled to be here in our home state, Florida.
Right here in Florida. It's up to you.
The presidential candidates converging in the Sunshine State, hoping to sway voters.
We need a president who's going to bring us together, not pull us apart.
We created the greatest economy in history, and now we are doing it again.
The stakes in the tight race are higher for President Trump. In 2016, he defeated Hillary Clinton by 1.2 percentage points. Now, 4 years later, polls indicate the president must win the state to give this Florida resident another 4 years in the White House.
We have to vote for Trump because it's between Trump and Sleepy Joe, and anybody beats Sleepy Joe.
But the candidates are competing for a smaller pool of votes. According to data from the Florida Department of Elections, by Thursday morning, more than 7 million people have already cast ballots in Florida. That's nearly half of all registered voters in the state. So far, more registered Democrats mailed in their ballots, but the number of people voting in person is increasing, and that favors registered Republicans like President Trump.
I voted for a guy named Trump.
For Biden, rebuilding the blue wall of Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin is more important than Florida. Still, Biden and the DNC are outspending Republicans on ads in the states by 2 to 1. A win in fast-counting Florida would be a sign of strength on election night and could bring the presidential contest to an early and decisive end.
If Florida goes blue, it's over. It's over.
In Washington, I'm Nadia Romero.
Breonna Taylor's mother is asking for an independent prosecutor to re-examine her daughter's shooting by Louisville police. She also wants a new grand jury after Kentucky State Attorney General Daniel Cameron failed to charge the officers involved. She's calling into question trust and integrity in the case.
We filed for a new prosecutor, so hopefully we will get a new prosecutor, and then the sad part is this has to start again. But the point of it all is to do the job correctly. No one's asking for a favor. No one's asking anyone to do anything that's not right. It's just give her justice, do the job that you were given to do, and she deserves that.
And the council that makes that decision includes Attorney General Cameron, 3 Commonwealth attorneys, 3 county attorneys, and 2 citizens. Breonna Taylor's mother has asked that Cameron recuse himself from this decision. And the remnants of Hurricane Zeta are hitting much of the East Coast after pounding the Gulf Coast. At least 6 people were killed and at least 1 million are still without power. Morgan.
Tonight, Gulf states bruised and battered, reeling from Zeta. The Category 2 hurricane slamming ashore in Louisiana. The storm surge rushing onto streets, flooding homes, even tossing shrimp boats onto highways. Zeta unleashing an unforgiving wind, lifting then ripping homes right apart. The worst of the surge hit Mississippi, where cars floated in a parking garage.
It was a death-frightening experience.
In Alabama, Joel Sewell woke up as a tree sliced into his bedroom.
Here in St. Bernard Parish, a bitter irony. This is where those who live outside the levees park their trailers, trucks, and boats to escape rising waters. Only this time, Zeta brought the wind.
You just thank God you weren't in it.
Ken Wetzel's trailer, a total loss. The father of 2 comforting his kids, who salvaged what they could.
I think it breaks my heart more for them than it does for, than it does for me.
Tonight, Zeta leaves more than 1 million people without power, and polling locations suddenly dark.
And we all feel confident that we will be able to, here in St. Bernard Parish at least, to get those polls up and running for Tuesday.
A storm raising the stakes for an urgent recovery. Morgan Chesky, NBC News, New Orleans.
And coming up next, the numbers for the economy's 3rd quarter are in. How are we doing? What's the pace? And how much have we regained? This is KYOU News for You at 10.
from Ottumwa. You're watching News for You at 10. Available anytime on KYOUtv.com.
And the U.S. economy has grown at the fastest pace ever in the third quarter. The Commerce Department says gross domestic product expanded at 33%. Increased consumption, gains in business and residential investment, and exports fueled the rebound. However, there is still a long way to go for the economy to fully recover. The Commerce Department estimates the economy has only regained about 2/3 of the output that was lost when the pandemic hit earlier this year. To put it a little more simply, if you had $100, lost it all, you got about $60 back. That is this recovery. And to test the speed of the mail ahead of the election, NBC stations across the country have been running their own test, sending more than 1,400 letters between major cities for the last several months. Here's CNBC's Kayla Tausch.
Tonight, Gulf states bruised and battered, reeling from Zeta. The Category 2 hurricane slamming ashore in Louisiana. The storm surge rushing onto streets, flooding homes, even tossing shrimp boats onto highways. Zeta unleashing an unforgiving wind, lifting then ripping homes right apart. The worst of the surge hit Mississippi, where cars floated in a parking garage.
It was a death-frightening experience.
In Alabama, Joel Sewell woke up as a tree sliced into his bedroom.
Here in St. Bernard Parish, a bitter irony. This is where those who live outside the levees park their trailers, trucks, and boats to escape rising waters. Only this time, Zeta brought the wind.
You just thank God you weren't in it.
Ken Wetzel's trailer, a total loss. The father of two comforting his kids, who salvaged what they could.
I think it breaks my heart more for them than it does for, than it does for me.
Tonight, Zeta leaves more than 1 million people without power, and polling locations.
As lines wrap around polling stations nationwide, mail-in ballots are flooding into the U.S. Postal Service. An autumn crush following a summer of discontent, warnings of delays and cuts to resources just ahead of a high-stakes election.
Are you highly confident that those ballots would then be received?
Extremely highly confident.
With confidence in question, NBC stations have been putting the post office to the test, sending hundreds of letters cross-country since August, nearly all arriving within a week, 88% within 3 days, the post office's on-time benchmark. Then came October. Only 79% of our more than 800 letters arrived in that time frame, and a dozen, or 1.5%, were unaccounted for after 10 days. A potential headache if those were ballots and their addressee was the Board of Elections.
The real challenge now comes when the ballots come in and they have to be counted, making sure there's enough people to do it, making sure the ballots come in early enough so that there's time.
And in critical battleground states like Florida, late or missing ballots could have a material impact. More than 5 million Florida voters have requested to vote by mail. If 1.5% of those ballots disappeared, that's 75,000 votes. President Barack Obama won the state in 2012 by about 74,000 votes. Sunshine State ballots must be received by 7 p.m. on Election Day to get counted. But Craig Latimer, election supervisor in Hillsborough County, says they've got a head start.
We start counting the ballots 22 days before the election, the vote-by-mail ballots. By law, I have to upload the early vote totals into the server on the Monday before the election. So shortly after 7 o'clock on election night, we're going to be releasing a lot of unofficial results.
Sorry about that. It seems we had a little technical difficulty, but I will say the post office did not respond to CNBC's questions about the reasons for its recent slowdowns, but it did say it's accelerating the delivery of ballots between now and November 24th. And coming up next, the consensus number on overall pick in the upcoming NFL draft testing positive for COVID. This is KYOU News for You at 10.
You're watching KYOU NBC. And now, KYOU Sports for You.
Welcome back. Clemson's quarterback and potential #1 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, Trevor Lawrence, has tested positive for COVID-19. Clemson head coach Dabo Swinney confirmed the positive test tonight. Lawrence, who is among the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy this season, has led Clemson to an undefeated record so far. He will miss the Tigers' next game this Saturday against Boston College. It's not clear yet if he'll be available next week when the top-ranked Tigers play at Notre Dame. Swinney says Lawrence has mild symptoms is in isolation for at least 10 days according to ACC rules. And that is all we have here for you tonight. Thank you so much for joining us for KYOU News for You at 10. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Until then, for news and the latest First Alert forecast 24 hours a day, like our Facebook page and visit our website, KYOUtv.com.